Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match, Daniil Medvedev versus Carlos Alcaraz, Wimbledon 2021, round 2. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Daniil Medvedev with a comfortable 3-set victory, 6-4, 6-1, 6-2 for the Russian over the number 75 ranked player in the world, the Spanish teenager Carlos Alcaraz. I was curious before I began watching this match. I just wanted to look up where Medvedev was at Alcaraz's age. I just wanted to see. It was just a curiosity thing. And the answer is 655. So that's just kind of a caution and I think a good way to come into this analysis by just providing context at how far ahead of the game Alcaraz is, how much time he has to correct the things that he needs to in order to reach Daniil Medvedev's level, and just overall how every player takes different development paths. So just wanted to say that to start off, but also I want to shine a spotlight on Daniil Medvedev as a bit of a follow-up to all of the pre-tournament chatter and the things that I was looking out for. And obviously Medvedev was impressive in Mallorca and won the title there, but now I think I'm seeing the same thing at Wimbledon, where the number one question mark that I had about Daniil Medvedev coming into the tournament was about his movement. Is he going to cover the court well? Is he going to defend either as well or at least close to as well as he defends on a hard court? That is necessary in his game, because his game off the ground, his baseline game, is not overly offensive. He's got the big serve, yes, but other than that, he's not overly offensive. So he needs to be able to move, cover the court, defend, which is very difficult on a grass court sometimes, especially in the first week. And I got to tell you, Alcaraz is someone who I believe has the firepower and the aggression to test Medvedev's movement and his court coverage, and he looks incredibly comfortable. So my conclusion, and there is a long way to go, especially if we're talking about Medvedev contending against Djokovic, that couldn't happen before the final. But all I want to say is Medvedev is, to me, the true number 2 seed. I've seen enough to say that. Maybe there will be a surprise. Maybe I'll be surprised and look dumb. But to me right now, the true number 2 seed, and as I've pointed out a couple of times, any significant, fast, low bouncing event on tour in the last 2 years, Daniil Medvedev has made the final in. All right, I want to talk about this match specifically now. Okay, let's get into it. The first thing that is just off the bat a blatant mismatch in this match is the serve return dynamic, especially when it comes to first serve effectiveness. Daniil Medvedev in the first 2 sets was 25 for 25 on first serve points. He ended the match 37 for 39. That is 95%. First serve goes in, automatic point for Daniil Medvedev. When he got broken in the second set, he double faulted 3 times. When he got broken in the first set at 5-3, and this was the only time in the match where it was like, oh, is this going to be close? Do we have something here? Only time in the match. And then Medvedev broke to win the first set 6-4. But when Medvedev got broken at 5-3, he didn't make any first serves. So that was Alcaraz's only chance to dig into the service games. But that is grass court tennis. There is a level of player on these courts where when they make first serves, they're going to make a very high clip. Now, 95%, that's a little much. That's a disappointing performance on return for the young Spaniard, no doubt. But still, there is going to be a lot of players on this kind of surface. When they make first serves, you're not really going to break them. You need to get your looks at the second serves. The problem is Alcaraz just doesn't serve well enough to be in that same category. And this is also about Daniil Medvedev's return, which is so exceptional. And Alcaraz looked to serve and volley a couple times, and Medvedev hit enough good returns, as he does oftentimes against these kinds of players, to kind of back Alcaraz off of that tactic. But he's standing so far back. Alcaraz kind of struggles to get it over 120 and doesn't spot serve as well as some players that are more experienced than him do. And as a result, Daniil works his way into Alcaraz's first serve points. Alcaraz won only 62%. So that right there, the serve return dynamic is such a massive and blatant mismatch. And then also, if I can just zoom out for kind of a bigger picture point for a moment, it's that it is kind of interesting that the two players in the youngest contending generation, Alcaraz isn't really contending yet, but I don't know what else to call it. But basically, Sinner and Alcaraz far ahead in the 1997 maybe for Sinner, and 2003. Sorry, I'm totally mixed up. 2003, I believe Alcaraz was born in, and would it be 2002 for Sinner? Something like that. In that generation, like the post 2000, 2001 generation, Alcaraz and Sinner pretty similar in the sense that they're kind of missing the serve, the big serve from the equation, which is so important at the top level of the men's game, at the very top, even though the elite return games are really just as coveted and just as important, but just kind of missing pieces from their game, where the generation below them with Zverev and Medvedev and Tsitsipas and Rublev, all of their first serves are perfectly sufficient. So just interesting. But the next thing is that the tendency, or the consistency, the level of consistency is something that really changed in Daniil Medvedev's career. He came onto the tour and was not willing to keep the ball in the court, was not willing to do the hard work in the points, would slap at his forehand, would try to do too much with his forehand, would miss it too frequently, was overly aggressive in every facet. And then 2019, he began to change that, and he went from a player who kind of slaps the ball around to one of the most patient players on tour. It was an incredible transformation. And the same thing happened with Dominic Thiem when he started to make massive improvements in his game in 2018. And Alcaraz is still it took a long time for Thiem, by the way. Alcaraz is in the stage of his game where he's still making too many mistakes, and he's playing a guy in Daniil Medvedev who is past that point in his career and has now matured beyond that point. He is limiting mistakes. He is rarely missing unless there's good reason to miss, unless he is under an immense amount of pressure, unless he has a chance to make an offensive play and he misses a ball that is kind of high reward, low risk, but maybe he misses it 1 out of 4 times and there was an opening. You know what I mean? It's just, especially in big spots, you don't want to miss second serve returns on a break point, or miss 3 first balls on a service game. That's the kind of thing where you get your serve broken, and now, oh my God, I'm facing Daniil Medvedev and his 95% first serve points won, and I just gifted away a really loose game on serve because I made mistakes. And that's the gap here right now between Medvedev and Alcaraz, among other gaps, but that is the major one. But I just want to talk about, on the positive side, I was super impressed with how Alcaraz responded to short balls. He was very adept, very alert to chances to attack. I hope everyone saw that Alcaraz is not a clay courter, really. He is not a passive player. He wants to come forward. He wants to be the aggressor. And when Alcaraz got a chance to do that, he impressed me. I loved the way he took it to Medvedev and rushed the net and used his forehand, and sometimes he looked great. But you must be able to work the point. You must be able to find your chance, and sometimes it takes a long time, especially against a player like Medvedev, who's so good defensively and who trades with the best of them, at an elite level of trading for Medvedev, and that means he's great at remaining unattackable. Well, you need to be able to hang in the point long enough and trade well enough to find an incoming ball that is weak enough to attack. And I found that if Medvedev was able to hold Alcaraz at bay, an error was made off the racket of the Spaniard because he was too eager to do damage and just did not have the shot tolerance, could not match Medvedev for the shot tolerance. So Alcaraz needs to work the point more and find his way in. Not every ball can be a 90% ball. You cannot build on every ball. Sometimes you just need to trade. Sometimes and then also the backhand, I worry about it technically because there's not a lot of safety I think he hits the net a lot on his backhand because he just doesn't get a lot of clearance. So the forehand, I think it's all mental in terms of his errors. I just think he could be consistent on that side, more consistent on that side. It's just a mindset adjustment and training that way. But the backhand, I do worry if he needs to get some more spin on it. But that's my overall assessment. So Medvedev, the defense, the counter-striking, by the way, the way he passed Alcaraz at the net from the second set on was really incredible. Because it was just so difficult for Carlos. He needed to make his approach shots so good, or Medvedev was really making him pay with difficult volleys. But I mean, honestly, just a showing from Medvedev that just showed why he is at a higher level than Carlos Alcaraz at this point in his career. All right, that'll do it. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Gill_Gross for coverage throughout the tournament, and it is time for me to watch Roger Federer. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.